we're going to be dealing mostly with two particular events on the spiritual path. They appear on astrological charts as house 9 events and house 3 events. Let me show you the patterns. As you may know, Tarot's Major Arcana has 22 cards, but these cards represent the final stretch of the spiritual path, so to speak. After people have done a lot of work already, have seen a lot of things about the personality, about the world, and have paid a good deal of karma also. So this applies more to kind of old souls that have been around quite a while. And then they get this sequence that we can see on the screen. And usually people who are interested in spiritual work, they go through this process, either in one lifetime or several lifetimes. It doesn't really matter, but these are the patterns that come into being during that process. Obviously, house 1 is important because it's the center of the personality, right? Along with house 1, the Lord of the Geniture is important. If you don't know what the Lord of the Geniture is, it's the planet in your birth chart that has the most essential dignity and the most accidental dignity, okay? In terms of the spiritual path, the Lord of the Geniture is important because it's a wise energy that we have from birth. So it's something that came with a certain degree of intelligence or wisdom. And then that natural wisdom can manifest in your life in many ways. But if you are interested in spiritual work or development, it will help in that area. It's a very important part of our birth chart when talking about spirituality. So we have to engage our Lord of the Geniture and engage our work. Michelle is asking, if two planets have equal essential dignity scores and are in mutual reception, does that mean that they both consider lords? You could consider lords. Basically, you have two sources of wisdom in your chart or more. Okay, so if you have 3 dignified planets, essentially dignified, and they're all angular, you have a lot of sources of wisdom. And then it just, you have to put them to work, right? So in practical terms, yes, you can use as many wise planets and strong planets as you can. The next step that's significant on the path is represented by the Hanged Man. Basically, it's something that comes into being in your life, in your spiritual work, that changes your perspective completely. It changes 180 degrees, basically. While you were here in this effort kind of place, we were working spiritually for a particular aim, whatever. We were taught by our spiritual teachers, by our religion, by our upbringing. We thought we were going to a certain place spiritually, okay? It could be heaven, it could be paradise, it could be enlightenment, it doesn't matter the word. But then when this event happens, which is a house 9 event, things change because here something very fundamental is revealed. It changes the way the work proceeds by force because there's a realization that what you were working for before doesn't apply. It was all imagination, basically. It wasn't irrelevant. It was very important. But the thing you were trying to get spiritually, it's not that. It's something else. And that something else is revealed in this event. And it's a house 9 event. You can see that in horary charts, and you will see today in birth charts and progressions and return charts. When this particular revelation or recognition or awakening happens, it will appear on the return charts. After this event happens, some people think that this is the end of the path. It's a short-lived assumption. It's not the end, it's the beginning of the end. Because without this, all the rest doesn't make much sense. And this is not possible without this first. Sometimes they happen at the same time, but usually it's a progression here. After this event, because what we imagined before is not applicable, we have to get rid of a lot of nonsense from our personality. So this is the card that displays elimination. Okay, what comes after awakening is elimination. It's not acquisition. right? We're not going to acquire anything. We're just going to get rid of all that's false, and what's true just is there without any effort, basically. And that's what this card means. You see, the card doesn't even have a name. It's a beautiful symbol because it eliminates everything. Eliminates your name, eliminates your head, and eliminates all that you think yourself to be. So the point is not to be what you think you are. The point is to live as you are, not what you think you are. If this process goes on successfully, then the result is balance. That way, your daily life becomes more balanced, right? Naturally. If you get rid of what's harmful and what's necessary, you feel lighter, right? And you begin to function better in your life. However, this is not a straightforward path, right? Once you're advanced into this process here of elimination and balance, house 12 can come in at any time. So there's no destruction here of the falseness of our personalities. So the wrong ideas, the wrong beliefs, the emotions that are distorted, the traumas that we had in our childhood or previous lives, they can surface again, and they will take your attention away. And mainly what it will do, it will produce suffering. It will produce psychological suffering. You will feel that you're not adequate. You'll feel that life is wrong, or the universe is wrong, or you blame God, or whatever. It just doesn't feel right. And all those things are a house 12 matter, often called the ego in some places. In the Christian religion, it's called sin, or the devil, of course. So this is a culturally biased symbol just to drive in the point, right? It's the devil. And it's not a creature that's out there to attack you, which some people think the devil is, right? No, it's a part of our psyche that acts against our own well-being and our best interests. So we have to deal with this in the spiritual path in some way or another. As you progress, it shifts the way you deal with it, but it's part of the path. If you're successful, great, you keep moving, right? But it's difficult, right? It's sometimes we get stuck on the path, and if we get stuck, something comes from outside, shakes us up. So it could be an accident, a divorce, or an illness, anything. And it's a house 6 matter. So something comes from the outside and gives us a slap on the face or on the hand to wake us up. And that's what this card represents. And house 6 is very prominent in people who are interested in spirituality. Actually, it's prominent in everybody's life. But if you're not strong in this process, and if you're not interested in spirituality, this can basically destroy your life, and it can feed house 12. But if you're spiritually centered, this will give you strength. It will help you destroy and eliminate the unnecessary. So it will give you more wisdom. As you develop more wisdom, you come to be more integrated in life. The feeling that life is some kind of out of place or something is wrong begin to fade. And it's represented by this card, which is also a house 3 experience, because your daily life begins to be more normal. You will begin to interact with life in a more natural way, and also without fear or without grinding and without so much stress. So this happens with people who are spiritually inclined. They have an accident, somebody dies close to them, and then they become more peaceful rather than resentful. Resent is here, right? Peacefulness is here. So spiritually speaking, this is one of the outcomes of this whole process, including the process of experiencing harsh experiences. And as you continue, life also continues, and life brings pain in one way or another, because if you have several loved people in your life and they one die one after the other, you're gonna feel pain, and you're gonna fall and break your ankle, or you're gonna have an accident, and pain is part of life. So This is crucial to understand. That's part of the spiritual path. Because many people think that, and actually in this part of the path early on, we may think that spiritual realization is some kind of permanent state of happiness without any pain. This is very common, but it's imaginary. It's not possible. Life has pain. The peace of spirituality, which is the total acceptance of what life brings you, includes pain. So spiritual realization is not the absence of pain. It's the absence of the unnecessary suffering of the ego, but it's not the absence of pain. So this is going to be on the path. There is no way to avoid it. Another important step on the path is the help, right? Because we're just not alone. We have our spirit guides. We can meet a teacher, a friend, astrology, tarot. It comes from all over the place. So there is a sun that's shining like back there, and it's giving us help. And this is really, really important. And this is a house 11 matter. The essence of house 11, it's deeper than wishes. House 11 is the house of friendship, right? Well, what is a friend? A friend is what will give you something without expecting anything in return, or sometimes giving you without you deserving. So it's a true gift, right? Somebody or something or the universe gives you something for your benefit. That's the essence of a friendship, right? It's a kind of selfless act. That's house 11. If you receive any of these gifts here, an accident or the personality that you have, the Lord of the geniture that you were born with, they're all gifts. They are things that were given to you. These kind of events, the house 9 event particularly, and the house 3 event, the final one, they usually have help from outside. There can be your spirit guide may be doing something to elicit this revelation, or your spirit guide may be involved into wiping out one final thing from your personality. We don't know. We can know through astrology. It's interesting, as you will see in the charts today. If we ask, we can know where this help comes from, and so it's cool to do it through astrology. After all this has been going on for a while, the last thing that's left, basically, it's remembrance, because you're not trying to go to heaven. You don't need any new revelation. The illumination, it's important. You benefit from this. You know that the ego does the same thing all the time. If you follow the ego, you're going to be bashed on your head. You experience this. You know that pain is inevitable. You know that you have help. So all these things become a non-issue. Even the whole spiritual path becomes okay, great. This is great. It's the experience, but I don't need to make an effort and be worried or concerned about all this. The only thing that's left, if the ego comes in, there's just a subtle remembering of what you saw in this revelation here, which is a preview of this state, which is a state of integration and peace and total acceptance among the 4 elements, right? So this is called the world. And this is the world. What's the world made of? It's made of 4 elements, right? So there we have water, air, earth, and fire. And you are experiencing that. There's more to this symbol here that's really beautiful. It's barely dressed. It's almost naked, which is you're living your life vulnerable and mostly exposed without any fear. And you have a little bit of dressing here to enable you to participate in life, because if you're totally naked in life, it's going to be a problem in many ways. So this card is very symbolic of the spiritual realization, which is this process came to some kind of conclusion, and there's no more spiritual seeking. You're not trying to achieve something or reach something or arrive at a certain state. It's tranquil and peaceful state without any constraint, or it's not contrived. So this last step here, it's just a remembrance of this. And so this is the path. And we're going to see a number of these houses in the charts now.